Welcome to this Connecting Africa video interview. I'm Paula Gilbert. I'm the editor of Connecting Africa, and today we are talking about digital inclusion on the continent. And I'm very happy to be joined by Elisabeth Medou Badang, who is the Senior Vice President for Orange, Middle East and Africa. Thanks so much for joining us today, Elisabeth.
Thank you for having me.
So when it comes to digital inclusion, what are the big challenges that we are still facing on a continent like Africa?
According to GSMA, the number of people who are connected is growing. So the latest figures show that about 430 million users of internet are in the region by the end of 2020. So this shows a significant growth compared to the previous year, so something like 10 or 2 digits growth. But there are still a lot of inequalities between countries and even within countries. So, for example, between the MENA region and sub-Saharan Africa, the internet adoption is very different. Even within sub-Saharan Africa, if you consider countries like Senegal, or you compare them to DRC or Central African Republic, the penetration rate of internet is still very low. Within countries, between rural and urban areas, there are big gaps in terms of internet adoption and in terms of connectivity, uh, speaking generally. Even between men and women, there is a gender gap. So at Orange, our central objective is to make the digital world accessible to all. To that end, we focus on three main pillars. The first one is connectivity. The second one is device. The third one is around services. We consider that those three areas are the main drivers to improve the digital inclusion. So regarding connectivity, as an example, we invest about 1 billion every year in our network to serve better our 130 million customers. So these investments are around increasing internet speed with 4G rollout that we have rolled out in all our operations except one, but also fiber more and more. We build fiber to offices and to home, and generally speaking, all fixed high broadband solutions. But we also invest heavily on terrestrial and international backbones because it's a key driver to foster the internet usage. Just to give few examples, we are involved in all the major global projects in Africa, such as To Africa that you surely know. But also a few months ago, we launched our first regional terrestrial backbone that we called Joliba. Joliba is the name of the third longest river in Africa. It goes through about 6 countries, if I remember well. But our Joliba backbone is a little bit like the river, you know. It's helped connect 8 countries in West Africa between themselves and to connect those countries to the rest of the world through different cables. The second pillar that we focus on is the cost of device. Today, it's a main barrier to internet adoption. 70% of the population is already covered, but the average cost for a smartphone is still about 60% of the average monthly income for a family in Africa. So that makes it very unaffordable to people, and it's a limitation to the usage. So to address this challenge, we leverage on our strengths, our size, our negotiation ability to build a partnership in order to lower the cost of smartphone. One example that I can name is the partnership that we built last year with Google when we launched in October what we call Sansa Touch. Sansa Touch is a very affordable smartphone. We sell it at around $30. It's one of the cheapest 4G capable smartphone in our market, and we sell it with a bundle of data. So it's been sold in different countries in sub-Saharan Africa, such as Madagascar, Guinea-Bissau, or even Cote d'Ivoire. The third one is around services. Services, we have a lot of different kind of services about the, except apart from the traditional communication services, the internet services, the data services, the tailor-made services to our customers. We try to make sure through the support that we bring to the innovation ecosystem to create uh, more and more services that are tailored to the needs of the people in this region. So those are the three main areas of focus for us in order to make sure that the digital inclusion is as inclusive as possible.
Okay, that all sounds great. So also you've launched these Orange digital centers, which I'm quite interested in. So I know you have in Tunisia, in Senegal, and Cameroon. So what's kind of the aim of those centers, and are you planning on rolling out any more, and where?
Yes, for sure. When you look at the demographic in Africa, where uh, half of the population is under 20 years, it's clear that the challenge of digital training is certainly one of the most strategic priority for our region. The continent need to create about 12 million jobs every year if we want to stabilize the unemployment rate, if we want to accommodate all those people coming into the business world every year. There is a study showing that about 230 million jobs in sub-Saharan Africa are likely to require digital skills. So, in short, Africa needs to train its youth to ensure Africa's long-lasting development and for us to unlock more opportunities of this fourth revolution. So that's the reason why we created this Orange Digital Center initiative. It's like a one-stop shop for digital skills enhancement and innovation. So it's done in partnership with a German state organization called the GIZ, which helps us to scale up and accelerate the rollout of the project in Africa and the Middle East. As you mentioned, we launched it in Tunisia and then Senegal, Cameroon, very recently in Ethiopia. But our ambition is to have at least one digital center in all our operation in Africa and the Middle East by mid next year, by mid 2022. So it's about a year from now. We our target is to have open a digital centers in all our affiliates. The digital center is about digital skills. When I talk about digital skills, I mean coding, I mean ICT skill enhancement, but it's also about improving the entrepreneurship ecosystem with the support of startups at different stage. You have accelerators, but you have some specific funding. This idea was found so relevant that the group have decided to let's say, to leverage on the African Digital Center project to build the same in Europe. So by 2025, all our operations, even in Europe, will have a digital center. And what is interesting with those digital centers that we consider really to be a lever to improve the employability of youth. The good thing with this digital center is that we want to connect all of them together to build a kind of network of knowledge sharing, innovation sharing between countries and between the continent. So it's a very, very, very exciting project. It's one of the star projects that we are working on.
Yeah, it's great to hear that it's going to go from Africa to other places. Usually it's the other way around. So that's great. This week, you guys also announced that you are buying a stake in a Moroccan health tech company. So I'm just interested, why would a telco like yourselves want to invest in that kind of space, and what's so interesting about this company?
Well, we used to be mainly, let's say, connectivity provider, providing mobile services, data services to our customers in the 18 countries that we are operating in. But slowly and surely, our role is evolving because we consider that there are opportunities to leverage on our assets with our connectivity, our presence in the countries, our about 1 million point of sales in countries, in order to bring more services to people. So we move from this connectivity provider to a multi-service operator. So we work in markets where digital can make a real difference in improving access to vital services and in sectors that are still emerging. So I think of energy, of course, we have launched some energy services. I think of education, I think of agriculture, and obviously health. Health and all the services that matter to the people. So we consider really that the transformative role of digital is key and even more important in our region than anywhere else because of the lack of infrastructure. So regarding health, we have been involved in several projects for many years now. We leverage on our assets that I mentioned earlier on to try to reach unserved population with new digital-enabled healthcare services. Usually, we do it in partnership with health authorities in countries, but also with international organizations such as Gavi, Global Fund, UNISD, or UNAIDS, or USAID. We also support local startups who provides health services. Our value proposition is still around support services to health professionals, but also to patients and everything related to prevention and wellness. But our partnership with DabaDoc and AXA complement all these initiatives in order to improve access to health to the African population. The medical coverage or the health service coverage is very limited today. I think we have less than one doctor for 10,000 inhabitants, if I'm not mistaken. And this is an average. When it comes to specialists, the rates it's even worse. And when you compare urban areas with rural areas, it's a different story. So our objective is really to try to leverage on this kind of operation to contribute to improve access to health to the African population.
Okay, so what is DabaDoc actually doing, and do they operate not just in Morocco, right?
Today it operates in Morocco. They are starting also, there are plans to roll out in Algeria, and then we'll move in all the countries where it will be relevant. DabaDoc for us is just a first, let's say, kind of first step in our approach. We used to have this partnership approach with organization that I just mentioned. Now we are looking for more opportunities with merger and acquisition type of solution. It's a way we want to move above the partnerships approach that we used to have. So we are still open for more opportunities in this sector that for us is really critical in our ambition to be the preferred multi-service operator in the region.
Okay, so you'd want to maybe buy into other health tech startups and maybe also other industries like agriculture?
Yeah, yeah. Clearly, we have some services around agriculture today. We have more than 600,000 people using them in sub-Saharan Africa, particularly. So this is one area that we want to improve because we have seen where people use those services that they have the opportunity to improve their productivity by something like 30%, which is huge, which is significant. And we talked earlier on about including the underserved today. Yeah, we should go to them not only with communication means, but also solutions for them to improve their lives, their daily lives, such as health services, as we mentioned, or energy that I pointed out earlier on, or improve their productivity and the earnings with solutions like the one that can foster agriculture.
Okay, and then what impact do you think COVID-19 has had, on digitization in Africa, and what changes are you seeing at the moment when it comes to the digital divide?
COVID. Before going into the business element of COVID, I should say that this pandemic is still, because it's still on, is having a tremendous impact on people's lives, jobs, families, country. Everything is impacted by this situation. It is impossible to overstate how much changes we have had to withstand since more than a year now. So it's an opportunity to think of all those people who have been impacted with their health or have lost a lot of people. And even in our region where it was not as bad as elsewhere, it has been really impactful, and it's still today on health access, on economic growth, and things like that. So it's terrible. But at the same time, this pandemic have obliged everyone to adapt, to adjust. During the crisis where travels and even commuting were restricted, our services, from connectivity to financial services, became lifesavers. It was we enable workers to telework, students to learn remotely, family to stay in touch, and so on and so forth. So we have seen that the phone was not only a phone. It was, let's say, the a key to continue to live a life which was as normal as possible. So we noted, for example, that when it comes to education, we had to leverage on connectivity in order to ensure that students continue to get a minimum education. So we have offered in 15 of our countries mobile connection to selected courses. And about 2 million packages have been provided to students to try to keep the connection and keep learning while this pandemic was going on. So it was a kind of accelerator of digitalization because it was the only way for people to continue to live their lives, to continue to buy or sell products. We have seen emergence, well, acceleration of e-commerce. A lot of goods like vegetables that before that were not sold through e-commerce solution, people started to do that. So we have seen kind of acceleration in the usage. Talking only about working from home, it was something completely new to almost all the companies in our region. Now it's more and more frequent. And for you to provide such services, high-speed internet is key. So we have seen acceleration in fixed internet solution adoption, and the growth rate is still very robust, even this year. So we have seen this increase in the data usage from customers. We have also seen digitalization of a lot of transactions on mobile money, for example. We have seen acceleration of adoption in some countries in the MENA region, even in sub-Saharan Africa. We have seen the materialization of transaction between the telco operator and the end user with the distributor in the middle. Everything was on digital, from the sales to the distributor to the top-up from the end user. So it has accelerated the self top up, for example. It has accelerated bank to wallet, all those financial digital services that we had before. So I would say, in a nutshell, that it was, first of all, not that it was an eye opener, but now everybody's seeing more and clearer that digital can bring a lot of opportunities in almost all aspects of people's lives, in companies' operations, including in terms of optimizations of this operation. So those opportunities that are manifold are now clearly perceived by more and more people. Companies realize that digitalization is key. So the acceleration of digitalization of company is ongoing, thanks, if I may say so, to this pandemic. So there are a lot of opportunities, and that is clear now. And network and our services are key for that. It's also clear, and we have seen in a lot of countries that authorities, the government, have considered our services to be essential services. That was something new. It was not that obvious